everybody, Claire here from Van Isle Labradoodles, and today we're here with the Razzle Dazzle litter, and these are multi-gen Australian Labradoodle puppies, and these are mini-sized Australian Labradoodle puppies, and this is the 2-week update for this litter. And there have been some big accomplishments this week that we're going to discuss. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Ripple and where she's at these days. You can see she's not with us right at the moment. So we're going to talk about that a bit. And then we're going to talk about choosing a vet and a trainer and some tips to help you out with those decisions. So let's get started. The first thing that is the major accomplishment from the past week for this litter of puppies is that their eyes have opened, and everybody has their eyes open now. It's just great when they open their eyes. It's almost like they've been born a second time because their personalities really start to shine through, and when they make eye contact with you, it's just a really special feeling. And the other major thing that they've done this past week is they are up walking around on all fours. So they're very mobile now. They do tend to move about a bit now rather than just eat, sleep, eat, sleep. And with that moving around has come eliminating on their own. So they are able to both pee and poo on their own now. And when we go through each of the puppies here with a little bit of an update on each one individually, you may see some poop on the puppies. Ripple is, as we know, a little bit of a diva. She's probably listening to me say that, so don't tell her. And she sometimes feels that maybe that's not her job. Some moms keep their puppies absolutely sparkling and are almost OCD about licking them continually. And others are a bit like, maybe the humans can look after that. Ripple's much more in that latter category. She's always looking at me and going, well, maybe you could do that cleanup job there for me, Mom. So we don't like to give the puppies too many baths. And normally we don't bath them until you come for your family visit at 4 weeks. So unless they're absolutely in need of a bath for health reasons or sanitation, we pretty much leave them and just do a little wipe off. So you might see a little bit of poop under the tail or on the legs today when we do our individual summaries of the puppies. So let's get started and talk about what each one of these puppies has done. And we've weighed them. And so we've got their weights and their gains from last week. So let's start with Red Collar Girl over here. Come here, sweetie pie. Red is still the biggest puppy in the litter. She is one chunky girl. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl with a beautiful labby type body. And you can see she's going to show you her eyes, I hope. She has those nice eyes, and that changes her whole face now that her eyes are open. With all the white on her face, she has what I call a really open face. And then once the little eyes are there, and you can see them, she's showing them to you now. Once she's got the eyes, well, that just changes the whole look. And you'll notice on all the puppies, their eyes are blue. Puppies, just like humans, are all born with blue eyes. These dogs will not retain those blue eyes. They'll fade out into a dark brown or a hazel color eye. So anyways, Red Collar Girl, she now weighs 942 grams. So she's almost at a kilogram already. And so she's gained 313 grams since last week. Now, all the puppies have gained just a little bit less this week, and that's perfectly normal at this point in time. They're not constantly eating and not growing quite as rapidly as they do for the first 2 weeks. But you can see she's very content. She's very relaxed. She's a nice, quiet, calm, happy puppy. So that's little Red Collar Girl, our little chunky monkey. We'll just put her back down here. And the next one we'll do is Pink Collar Girl. The two girls are the biggest puppies in this litter. Now, oftentimes people think that it's always the males that are bigger, but that isn't always the case whatsoever. So Pink has a few crusties on her. And here she is, and let's see if she's going to show us her beautiful eyes. She's still kind of dozy, and perhaps she's not going to wake up for us. Are you going to show us your eyes? Now, Pink is what I suspect a full tricolor girl. So she's a black and white party, as we've discussed before, and then she also has the phantom markings. And we'll do some DNA testing on her. We'll swab her inside her cheek. We will all the puppies to see if indeed they really are tricolors. Oh, there's her eyes. Now hers are going to be harder to show up on the camera here because she has all the black around her eyes. So they don't light up quite the same way that red color girl's eyes do. So Miss Pink, she's doing a great job of everything. She's a lovely little girl. She's a little bit more talkative and a little bit livelier than Red, but just a sweet little angel. And Pink weighs 865 grams, so she's gained 327 grams this week. So she's just right on track and just doing beautifully. Really good job. Obviously, Ripple has got excellent stuff at that milk bar there. So I'll just put her down over here, sort of where she was. And then next we're going to do Blue Collar Boy, which is this one here. Blue Collar Boy is the one that has the most black on him. And Blue Collar Boy, just like Pink, is probably a try because you can see all those beautiful phantom markings that are on the side of his face there. And we'll see if he's going to show us his beautiful eyes. There they are. They're opened up now. Now, the puppies can't really see anything right now. It's just all shapes and kind of blurry and mostly probably a gray and a brown muddy mess for them. But at least they can see movement. And when you come into the whelping box, they can distinguish that there's something there. They're not exactly sure what is there at this point. Hey, sweetie? So Blue is weighing 830 grams. So he's gained 271 grams this week. And you'll see, just like his sisters, he's very calm, he's very relaxed, he's totally content to be in my arms and doesn't have any concerns whatsoever with being picked up and handled. And that's pretty much what we want to accomplish in these first couple of critical weeks with them. So that's Mr. Blue. And we'll just put him over here. Actually, I'm just going to move Mr. Purple because he's our last puppy. We'll get Mr. Purple here. There we go, Mr. Blue. And here comes Mr. Purple. Mr. Purple is also probably a try. Again, he has those beautiful phantom markings. And let's see if he's going to show us his eyes. He was actually the first to open his eyes right around just a couple of hours before Pink opened her eyes. No, he's not really thinking that today he wants to be on camera too much. Let's see if we can get him a little bit more settled down and comfortable. Hey, baby boy, there you go. Oh, he's going to give you a big yawn and show you where his teeth are going to come soon enough. There's his eyes. He's opened them up for you and giving you a little glimpse of them. So Purple weighs 785 grams, and he's gained 247 grams this week. So he's the smallest. He sometimes gets tired before the others when he's nursing and just falls asleep. And that's really the only reason. He was the smallest of the whole litter when he was born too. So he's a bit fussy there. So we're going to put him down with the others. So there we go. Now, while they've opened their eyes this week and can start to distinguish some shapes, they still can't hear. So we've got the two major things accomplished in terms of being able to eliminate on their own and to be able to have their eyes open. And now what's remaining is for them to have their ears open. So normally we expect to see that in about a week's time. Usually by the time they're 3 weeks old, their ears are opening. So what we'll do now, between now and then, is we're going to start going and clapping our hands each time we come in. And that way, we'll do that and we'll watch the puppies and we'll see if there's any reaction and we'll gauge it from there. And that way we'll know when their ears are actually open. And as soon as their ears open, then we start doing a lot of desensitization to sounds. So we'll intentionally make a lot of loud sounds and we'll go blah, and all sorts of silly sounds when we come in, and we'll bang things around and we'll play music on the computer regularly for them as well. We make them listen to all different kinds of music, and we also make them watch hockey and football, although we don't have any more football now. The Super Bowl has been played, but we make them watch sports and listen to a lot of crowds cheering and things like that. So a lot of sound desensitization for them. So that's the kids, and that's where they're at this week. Ripple's doing really well. She's not with us right now. She's just off to the side again, similar to what she did last week. I don't know if she's being camera shy or if she's holding out for a model fee, but most likely what it is she's looking for a nice break from the kids. She's feeling now that she needs some time away from them. So she sleeps outside of the box quite regularly. She comes out and plays around with the other dogs. She'll sit outside in the evenings and she'll sit just outside the glass doors here. So when she's just outside of these doors, she can see us in the living room. She can see us when we're eating. She can watch the TV with us, but she can still keep an eye on the puppies, and she can, more importantly, hear the puppies. Now, one thing that's changed for Ripple and the Razzle Dazzle puppies this week is Hazel has moved in. Hazel is Ripple's younger sister, and Hazel has just had her puppies. So Hazel and Ripple are sharing this maternity ward together. And then when Breezy has her puppies, Breezy will be in our other maternity ward, which is just across the hall in our spare bedroom. So it's a little more crowded in here. Ripple is not too keen on sharing. She is a diva, as I said, and she doesn't really think that Hazel and her puppies belong in here, given that, of course, hers are the best, and Hazel figures hers are the best. So she's a little out of sorts about that. We've changed the arrangement with the doors as well. So previously, Ripple was able just to use her paw, and she could knock on the door to tell us when she wanted to come out. And then when she wanted to come in, she could just push on the door and open it. And so she was pretty much free to come and go. The only time we limited her access was when the other dogs were around. It's really important that you don't allow other dogs to be close to the puppies. Lots of hormones in the mums. The mums can be the sweetest, nicest dogs, be best friends with another dog. But if that dog happens to be too close to their puppies, they can just behave in an entirely different manner. So it's not uncommon for dogs to fight. It's not uncommon for a mom to even harm her puppies if she feels that there's a threat to them. So it's really important that that's managed carefully and wisely, because we certainly don't want anything to happen to the mums, our other dogs, or to the puppies. So in the maternity ward here now, we have a 3-foot high X-pen around the boxes, and that way neither Ripple nor Hazel can get to each other's puppies. There's a door in the X-pen, and we control when they come and go. So Ripple's not too crazy about the idea of having her access controlled, sort of like having a curfew. But she lives with it. She's okay with it. And she understands. She doesn't like that when I'm working in here, she can't come and sit right beside me now. She has to just look at me. But she'll live. It's good for her sometimes to not have everything Ripple's way. She could be just a little spoiled. So that's what's going on with her. She's interested in Hazel's puppies, but not all that interested. She's still eating really well. She's eating the same amount pretty much, doing well with her calcium. She's still got lots of milk for the babies, and just everything is going really well with her. So we're really pleased about how well she's doing. So now let's talk a little bit about choosing a vet and a trainer. In last week's video, we talked about how Labradoodles really benefit from a bond-based approach to learning. We talked a little bit about the difference between luring and shaping behavior and just different training styles. I discussed some of the books that I thought would make good reading for you, and some of the books I thought would not make good reading material for you, and that was all based on approach. And basically the whole purpose of that conversation from last week's video was Labradoodles are a soft breed, they're a gentle breed, they don't need a heavy hand. They respond to love and respect and affection, and that's what they're looking for, and that's of course what you want them to give back to you. So when you're looking for a trainer, what I would recommend is, first of all, ask your friends. If you have some friends who have a dog and you think their dog is a nice, well-adjusted dog, and by that I don't mean a dog who's instantly sits and instantly comes, but a dog who's happy and, generally sits and comes when it's supposed to, but also is allowed to have some distractions. If you've got a friend with a dog like that, ask them, where did they go for their training? Who did they use? What method did they prefer? And then go and check that out yourself. I would look at people's websites, read through what they say, Most trainers will have a little synopsis of what their approach is, how they deal with things, and what their specialty might be. Initially, you're going to look for somebody who has some strong skills with puppies. You're going to want to look for classes that offer maybe one-on-one training. Maybe they're going to come to your home. Maybe they'll help you with integrating your children and grandchildren. But you also want to be sure that your puppy is out with other people and other puppies. So you want like a puppy kindergarten class or a puppy socialization. The one that we have locally here in Duncan, it does a quote unquote training session, which generally involves exposing the dogs to different situations. So there's vacuums, there's people with big hats and funny costumes. The puppies rather, go from person to person to person. So everyone trades dogs to make sure that your puppy is comfortable with other people and being handled by them. And then outside of that class time, they have supervised play groups that are about 30 minutes long. So that's the ideal combination. Personally, I would recommend that you do play group on a different day from the actual learning portion. And I would only do the learning portion once a week. That's enough for a brand new puppy to be dealing with. It's a lot to try and learn new things and be in a new home. So those are the kinds of things I'd look for. The other thing that's very important is there's no regulations right now surrounding dog trainers. So pretty much anybody can put their shingle out and say, oh yeah, I'm a dog trainer. So what you want to do is look for someone who's certified. And if they are certified, check that certification out. Are they certified because they took a 1 hour course off the internet? Or are they certified because they worked under somebody and they had some sort of journeyman type training and on the job training? And is it a recognized training facility that they have their certification from? So Karen Pryor is a major one. That's somebody who does shaping. Taylor, for instance, who works for us, we sent her to school to become a certified trainer. And we did that with her focusing on puppies. And she did all of her practicum in Victoria. So she is a fully certified trainer. And if you live near us, she is available to help you with your puppy. She does all the training for all of our guardian families and for many, many of our puppy families. And she just has a wonderful way about her. So her company is called Positive Results. And I'll give you a link to her Facebook page just below the video. So those are the kinds of things for trainers. Also go check the facility, make sure it's clean, make sure you can park, make sure it's safe, all those types of things. But just make sure it's the right feeling for you. What works for me isn't necessarily going to be what works for you. You may have a totally different idea of what makes you comfortable. And how you want your dog to behave may be entirely different from how I do. Ripple's a spoiled little princess, and that's just fine with me. For some people, that would not be a desirable thing. They would want their dog to be much less like that and much more prone to doing what they're told. Ripple sometimes doesn't do what she's told. So those are things to keep in mind. Now, the other big thing that you have to choose and find is a vet. Now, you may already have a vet from when you've had a dog before, and that's just great if you're happy with them. Many things have changed in vet practices over the years. So what I look for in a vet is, first of all, a vet who's going to agree to be interviewed or have a consultation. Now, you want to be prepared to pay for that because it is the vet's time that you're taking up. But I like to go in and book a half-hour appointment and sit down and spend some time with them, get to know them, and just same as the trainer, get a feel for them. Am I comfortable with them? The other sort of things you want to look for is, do they have an emergency program? What happens if it's after hours and you have a problem with your dog? Do you have a shared emergency response? That's what our vet has. They share emergency after hours call outs with, I believe it's 6 vets. So I'm not guaranteed I'm going to get my own vet. I'm not too keen on that, but my vet is ideal and suits me, and so I'm willing to put up with that one little aspect. But that's something to look for. Make sure it's a direct line you can call and so forth. What are their hours like? Is it important to you that you can go on a Saturday? Are they open on a Saturday? Those sorts of things. Then go to the clinic, check it out. Is it clean? Is it well organized? Does everybody seem to be enjoying their job? Is it a happy place to be? don't judge it if you hear dogs or cats howling in the back, because they're often in small little crates for their own good, and they're not in the best shape because maybe they were hit by a car or something else has happened. So not fair to judge the vet if there's crying in the background. The other thing that you probably want to run by them is, are they familiar with Labradoodles? You'll probably have to educate most of them on the difference between a multi-gen Australian Labradoodle and a Labradoodle. Some of them don't even recognize that there's a difference between a Golden Doodle and a Labradoodle. So you may have to do some education, and you're going to want to have a vet who's willing to be educated and learn about the breed. You may need to reassure them that your breeder is a registered breeder, belongs to a governing body, and does health testing and those sorts of things. Now, the other thing we've talked about a fair bit in our previous videos is we try to do as many things naturally as possible and as minimal amount of things as we need to do. So that includes vaccinations. We only do a 4-way basic vaccination for our dogs. We don't recommend that anyone have other vaccinations or do them in combination. So that's another thing you want to bring up with the vet. Are they open to that? And what's your approach? Are you traditional? Are you holistic? Do you want a combination? All sorts of things like that. Also, what facilities does your vet have? Do they have an on-site lab? Do they have a technician? Do they have all those things? And are those important to you, or are those things not important to you? If you live in a major center, you will find that there's many more specialists as opposed to a vet that is able to do a lot of the things themselves. So our vet has a lab. They do progesterone testing and a few other things like that in-house. But we also do sometimes have to send things out because they can't do all the testing here. So you have to sort of take it all with a grain of salt and make sure that you're not asking for too much considering the community that you live in. Then I would ask for some pricing. You want to do some pricing. That's vary wildly in terms of what they charge. But more than anything, just like with the trainer, the main thing is you want to be comfortable with your vet. You want to feel that you're on the same page, you have the same approach, and that they're going to follow your wishes. So those are the main things for those two things. It's good to start looking around for a vet and a trainer right now so that you have those things lined up. One thing to keep in mind is that your contract requires that 3 days after you pick up your puppy, that your puppy goes in for a wellness exam with your vet. So you'll want to make sure you have that scheduled before you pick your puppy up so that you aren't behind on in terms of the contract for getting that done. There you go, baby. And one other thing too, when you're looking for a vet, make sure you ask your friends for recommendations about that too. Friends and family are always the best. Word of mouth is better than any advertising. And check out the vet's website as well. And don't be afraid to ask them where they went to school. I ask vets when I interview them, where did you go to school and where did you finish in your exams? Did you have to write your exam more than once? Okay. What do you do for continuing education? What do you think is your specialty? What are you really interested in and what do you not like to do? Those things really matter a lot to me. Now, of course, my vet bill is going to be a lot more than your vet bill, so I do ask a lot more questions, but don't be afraid to ask questions. You're paying them for the service. Vets can be such a great help to you, so you want to make sure that you do have one that you're happy with and that you trust. So that's your assignment, so to speak, for this week, and that's your update for the kids for this week. Next week when we do our video, I expect that we'll see some movement and you'll see some responses when we clap or when we speak a bit louder. They should be all moving around really well, and they may even have started to lap up some goat's milk next week. So that's our update for this week. We really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up. We're really excited to announce that we have more than 100 subscribers to our channel now. If you haven't subscribed, please do. That way you always know when a video comes out. And when I do the videos for each litter, Although the subject matter is in general the same, I try to touch on different things each time. So if you watch all the videos, you get all the knowledge that I have to share. At least I hope it's knowledge and that it is helpful for you. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please write them below. You know how happy I am to answer them. And we hope that you've enjoyed this installment of the week 2 update of the Razzle Dazzle litter from Van Isle Labradoodles.